Hi, I'm Peter O'Keefe, and today we're at Leopardstown Driving Range in Dublin. So Strong members, thank you for all your questions. As always, we're here to answer them. So the question that keeps coming up is how you add structure or how you make a plan around your practice, particularly in a driving range. So I'm going to just show you how you can make a basic bay more like a training ground so that you can get more out of your practice, stuff you want to do to become a better player, whether you're working in your technical or your speed or your fields. Again, we're going to go through it and we'll see how we go. So we're here at Leopardstown Driving Range, something where I'm really familiar with. I work here regularly with my coach, Noel Fox, which is great for me because it's nice to get another set of eyes on me. If that's something you would like to do, it's very important that you would engage your local PGA pro again to help them develop your technique and your performance in a situation like this. Okay, so what we're going to help you with today is basically a couple of ideas that might help you, whether you snap hook the ball or whether you slice the ball, just certain stations you can set up that you can focus on. And again, how you structure your golf balls. We're not just pouring the bag or the basket out. You're going to put them into groups. You're going to have real structure here. And that's going to get you more, I suppose, substance out of your practice. And it's the only way to do it. All right, so creating a station. I suppose I'm big on this because it's so easy to toss a bucket upside down and just hit balls into the sky, which is grand. What are you working there? You're just working reps, and that's fine if that's what you want to do. But I suppose if you're in a phase of working on technique change, which a lot of us are, or some people like to refer to it as maintenance, even if you're in season at a higher level player, I think it's important that you set out a station that you're going to get some sort of, feel towards what you're working on. I'll give you an example of what I'm working on at the moment. So in 2 minutes, this is going to look a whole lot different. So it's all well and good for me to set up here. So I'm going to put down a shaft here, which is going to give me a visual on what we're calling baseline. I'm going to put down a basket here. And this is very relevant we're just going to start with that. This is very relevant for anyone who early extends or who might get the odd shank or hit a lot of push shots or snap hooks. Having something here that's basically going to, prevent you from flowing that way. In other words, if you're this type of player, like if you have something here, you'll avoid it the other way and it'll just change your pattern that way. That's so simple. And that can be obviously worked the other way. If you're one of those people, you might have something in a different position to change that flow. Or sometimes you'll see people with sticks here and you have to hit under them. So I call them, they're more externals, but they'll have you working on a certain way that might be different to what you do. So again, I have the ball set up here. So a kind of nice structured way I like to do this. You'll hear people refer to this as block practice. I like it more training. So if I have everything in blocks of 5, and I'm going to do the first 4 at a slow pace. So again, if I set it up and I have to be regimented every time. So the first thing I want to do is make sure that everything is in position here. That's what I would do at times. I get very this way, so I know the butt of the club is pointing outside that baseline as we're referring it to. So if I have it here, I'm obviously trying to work the club a different way, feel it going the other way, and move left through the ball. That's just a feel I like. I have no problem feeling this naturally. It's all the other stuff that I tend to struggle with, and when I get it right, golf is a much easier sport for me. When I don't get it right, it can be quite challenging. So what do I like doing? I actually have a mirror here, which is ideal. So the first 4 of every 5 cluster is going to be very technical based, making sure that's right, making sure that's right, making sure that's right, and then we know the way through is easy for me. So I try and match those really slow and just clip them. It doesn't matter about the outcome. Eventually it will, obviously. But again, if I can go 1, 2, and again, I refer to this as training in my head. This is a 50% swing pace. It's very technical, so I'm in that technical zone. I've created a station here for myself, but I'm really visual as a person, so I like to see everything. So if I didn't have a mirror there, I'd definitely have a camera. Up, up. Okay, so that's 4 of those done. And then here's where you really kind of need the visual. If you're that type of person, you're trying to replicate or repeat everything you did there in your, what I refer to as your gamer So up. Okay, so is that near the rehearsal? I'm not sure. It felt different. But I would repeat that maybe 5 or 6 rounds, which would give me a real nice structure. And I would, personally, I like to see it. So yeah, I don't really worry about I can see that in the mirror there, checking on my points at a slow pace. So I suppose cognitively you're much more involved in this. Then you go into your gamer, and hopefully, in theory, the more blocks you go through, it gets better and better. You start to feel it more, and then you can start trusting it, which is what it's all about. So another question we got was about how to play a knockdown shot or a punch shot and how to structure that in practice. So again, I'm just going to apply the same type of training way to this. I've got my 5. Obviously, there's a way, some people find this really comfortable. I would always see a punch shot as taking loads of club with loads of heat in a small swing. So a lot of people try and bring on a load of speed early. I try and feel like I'm almost starting from here, and I'm trying to push or squeeze the ball literally into the ground. So another great description of this I heard before is your hands never go above your belt. So sometimes that's a real nice one. What does that do? It actually really improves spin loft. So that's a nice feel, how I play it. So again, I want to visualize this ball coming out lower than the basket. So I'm using the basket again as a visual that the club head stays lower than the basket. Very simple. If you want to hit it really low, obviously you move the basket out. Okay, so again, this is a feel. Yes, the ball goes back in my stance. I'm going to feel like I'm really strong through the ball, but keeping the basket or the club face lower than the basket. So again, obviously my hands probably came higher, but I do know that was a real good, strong, low shot. Just using the basket as a visual. So again, back to our training ground. The more you do this, so if I just visualize the basket and I'm out playing a tournament under pressure, they're really good, strong, low shots. I'm not really technical in this space. I'm just working an external or something that I can see there. If I can do this over time using my training techniques, again, it should be a shot I can repeat whenever I need it, hopefully. Right, another question we get an awful lot is about pre-shot routine or what your rehearsal is before you hit a shot. And this is all about discipline. Like anything that I suppose demands repetition, particularly around golf or in a round of golf, is all discipline. So a question I would ask anyone at any level, can you go through your pre-shot routine for the whole round? And can you mark yourself on a scorecard on that one maybe? And if it's yes, well, that's a big task complete. For me, I suppose the discipline for me is not necessarily the pre-shot routine because I know it, but it's using my pre-shot routine to my target, which I'm not good at, not good enough at. And whenever I play really well, I tend to tick all those boxes. So for instance, my one, like I'm very feel orientated. I like to stand behind the ball, grip the club in one hand and just feel the club, just feel it in my hands. Now, what I should be doing more of, which I'm going to do more of, is actually line, because I like to pick a middle target between my ball and the target. So if the target out there is a white flag, and just for instance, that this little bit of plastic here is a bit of grass or a bit of sand, I should have the discipline really to go through my pre-shot routine, which again is just kind of motion. I like feel, I like motion. Line the ball up like I do with my putting. We talked about this. So if I at least know this, then I get back in. Some people time this, I don't time it. Some people have this. I do go through a waggle situation, but if I'm really trying to hit spots in my swing, up. That was pretty good. So again, you'll hear a lot of players do this. So they'll pick I call it a middle target. So sometimes that's your last look. That's totally individual no matter what level you're at. You don't have to be this robotic in my opinion. But again, if I'm trying to work to that target, I've done my flow behind, I'm happy, I get in. I have confidence now that that ball to that point is also to my target. So in theory, back to our basket, if I accelerate the club or if I commit to that line, I'm back in play mode, so I'm back to target. So that was actually a far better shot because I stayed with this for longer. A lot of people will hit a shot, they'll go through that process, They mightn't necessarily stay, what is that? Like 14 inches. You're not going to stay there. That's all we want you to commit to that spot there. So no matter what it is, I didn't really worry about that swing. That's another perfect shot straight at the target. So I think a big learning here is whatever works for you in keeping you engaged in the shot for longer, there's your middle target, there's your target. You have your technical feel or not, up to whatever player you are, and you go from there. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and also if you like this video and you'd like to develop your game further in your area, please seek out your local PGA professional.